Welcome to a new session on the course School Organization, Administration and Management. This chapter, First Aid for Common Injuries, include head injuries, wounds, sprain, strain, snake bite and sunstroke. First we shall discuss head injuries. A head injury is any sort of injury to your brain, skull or scalp. This can range from a mild bump or bruise to a traumatic brain injury. Common head injuries include concussions, skull fractures and scalp wounds. The consequences and treatments vary greatly depending on what caused your head injury and how severe it is. Head injuries may be either closed or open. A closed head injury is an injury that doesn't break your skull. An open or penetrating head injury is one in which something breaks your scalp and skull and enters your brain. It can be hard to assess how serious a head injury is just by looking. Some minor head injuries bleed a lot, while some major injuries don't bleed at all. It's important to treat all head injuries seriously and get them assessed by a doctor. Causes of head injuries. In general, head injuries can be divided into two categories based on what causes them. They can either be head injuries due to blows to the head or head injuries due to shaking. Head injuries caused by shaking are most common in infants and small children, but they can occur any time you experience violent shaking. Head injuries caused by a blow to the head are usually associated with motor vehicle accidents, falls, physical assaults, sports-related accidents. In most cases, your skull will protect your brain from serious harm. However, injuries severe enough to cause head injury can also be associated with injuries to the spine. Types of head injuries. 1. Hematoma. A hematoma is a collection or clotting of blood outside the blood vessels. It can be very serious if a hematoma occurs in the brain. The clotting can lead to pressure building up inside your skull. This can cause you to lose consciousness or result in permanent brain damage. The second is hemorrhage. A hemorrhage is uncontrolled bleeding. There can be bleeding in the space around your brain called subarachnoid hemorrhage or bleeding within your brain tissue called intracerebral hemorrhage. Subarachnoid hemorrhages often cause headaches and vomiting. The severity of intracerebral hemorrhages depends on how much bleeding there is, but over time any amount of blood can cause pressure buildup. The third one is concussion. A concussion occurs when the impact on the head is severe enough to cause brain injury. It's thought to be the result of the brain hitting against the hard walls of your skull or the forces of sudden acceleration and deceleration. Generally speaking, the loss of function associated with a concussion is temporary. However, repeated concussions can eventually lead to permanent damage. The fourth is skull fracture. Unlike most bones in your body, your skull doesn't have bone marrow. This makes a skull very strong and difficult to break. A broken skull is unable to absorb the impact of a blow, making it more likely that there also be damage to your brain. The fifth one is diffuse axonal injury. A diffuse axonal injury or shear injury is an injury to the brain that doesn't cause bleeding but does damage to the brain cells. The damage to the brain cells results in them not being able to function. It can also result in swelling, causing more damage. Though it isn't as outwardly visible as other forms of brain injury, a diffuse axonal injury is one of the most dangerous types of head injuries. It can lead to permanent brain damage and even death. Symptoms of head injuries. Your head has more blood vessels than any other part of your body. So, bleeding on the surface of your brain or within your brain is a serious concern in head injuries. However, not all head injuries cause bleeding. It's important to be aware of other symptoms to watch out for. Many symptoms of serious brain injury won't appear right away. You should always continue to monitor your symptoms for several days after you injure your head. Common symptoms of a minor head injury include a headache, lightheadedness, a spinning sensation, mild confusion, nausea, and temporary ringing in the ears. The symptoms of a severe head injury include many of the symptoms of minor head injuries. They can also include a loss of consciousness, seizures, vomiting, balance or coordination problems, serious disorientation, an inability to focus the eyes, abnormal eye movements, a loss of muscle control, a persistent or worsening headache, memory loss, changes in mood, leaking of clear fluid from the ear or the nose. For adults, severe head or facial bleeding, bleeding or fluid leakage from the nose or ears, severe headache, change in level of consciousness for more than a few seconds, black and blue discoloration below the eyes or behind the ears, cessation of breathing, confusion, loss of balance, weakness or an inability to use an arm or leg, unequal pupil size, slurred speech and seizures. For children, persistent crying, refusal to eat, bulging in the soft spot on the front of the head for infants, and repeated vomiting. If severe head trauma occurs, keep the person still. Until medical help arrives, keep the injured person lying down and quiet with the head and shoulders slightly elevated. Don't move the person unless necessary and avoid moving the person's neck. If the person is wearing a helmet, don't remove it. Stop any bleeding. Apply firm pressure on the wound with sterile gauze or a clean cloth, but don't apply direct pressure to the wound if you suspect a skull fracture. Watch for changes in breathing and alertness. If the person shows no signs of circulation or breathing, coughing or movement, begin CPR. First aid for head injury. Check the person's airway, breathing and circulation. If necessary, begin rescue breathing and CPR. If the person's breathing and heart rate are normal, but the person is unconscious, treat as if there is a spinal injury. Stabilize the neck and head by placing your hands on both sides of the person's head. Keep the head in line with the spine and prevent movement. Wait for medical help. Stop any bleeding by firmly pressing a clean cloth on the wound. If the injury is serious, be careful not to move the person's head. If blood soaks through the cloth, do not remove it. Place another cloth over the first one. If you suspect a skull fracture, do not apply direct pressure to the bleeding site and do not remove any debris from the wound. Cover the wound with sterile gauze dressing. If the person is vomiting, to prevent choking, roll the person's head, neck and body as one unit onto their side. This still protects the spine, which you must always assume is injured in the case of a head injury. Children often vomit once after a head injury. This may not be a problem, but call a doctor for further guidance. Apply ice packs to swollen areas. Follow these precautions. Do not wash a head wound that is deep or bleeding a lot. Do not remove any object sticking out of a wound. Do not move the person unless absolutely necessary. Do not shake the person if he or she seems dazed. Do not remove a helmet if you suspect a serious head injury. Do not pick up a fallen child with any sign of head injury. Do not drink alcohol within 48 hours of a serious head injury. Here we will have a discussion on wounds or open injuries and sprain. Wounds or open injuries. There are many types of wounds that can damage the skin, including abrasions, lacerations, rupture injuries, punctures, and penetrating wounds. Many wounds are superficial, requiring local first aid, including cleansing and dressing. Some wounds are deeper and need medical attention to prevent infection and loss of function due to damage to underlying structures like bone, muscle, tendon, arteries, and nerves. There are 4 main types of wounds, and each one requires a different type of treatment. They are: first is abrasions. Abrasions are caused by scraping the skin as from falling on a street. In such cases, wash the area with soap and warm water to remove all dirt on the surface. Then cover it carefully with sterilized dressing and bandage. The second is incised wounds. They are deep cuts, such as maybe by broken glass, a razor blade, or a sharp knife. Blood comes out freely from such wounds. In such cases, bandage the area firmly and take the patient to a doctor as early as possible. The third one is lacerated wounds. They are torn wounds made by blunt instruments or explosions. They are of a serious nature because there is a danger of infection. In such cases, the patient should be removed to the hospital emergency ward for treatment. The fourth one is punctured wounds. They are caused by narrow, pointed instruments like nails, needles, thorns, or bullets. In such cases, wounds must be cleaned immediately and alcohol be rubbed over the surrounding area. After this, a firm pressure should be applied and the patient be taken to a doctor. It should always be remembered that whenever the skin is broken, there is always the danger of infection. So, care should be taken not to touch the wound with the tips of fingers or with anything else that may carry germs. Immediately after cleaning the wound and the area around, antiseptic solution may be applied if needed, and the patient be taken to a qualified doctor without delay if the injury is serious. First aid for different wounds. Clean the wound with soap and clean running tap water. Apply continuous firm direct pressure to wound until bleeding stops. Once the bleeding stops, apply antibiotic ointment, cover with dressing. If blood soaks through the bandage, place another bandage over the first and keep applying pressure. Raise the injured body part to slow bleeding. When bleeding stops, cover the wound with a new clean bandage. Next, we shall have a discussion on sprain. A ligament is the fibrous connective tissue that connects bones to other bones. It is also known as articular ligament, articular lora, fibrous ligament, or true ligament. A sprain, also known as a torn ligament, is damage to one or more ligaments in a joint, often caused by trauma or the joint being taken beyond its functional range of motion. The severity of sprain ranges from a minor injury which resolves in a few days to a major rupture of one or more ligaments requiring surgical fixation and a period of immobilization. Sprains can occur in any joint but are most common in the ankle and wrist. Treatment for sprain. For most minor sprains, you probably can start initial injury treatment yourself. The first modality for a sprain can be remembered using the acronym RICE. The treatment of sprains depends on the extent of injury and the joint involved. Medications like non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs can relieve pain. Topical NSAIDs appear to be as good as those taken by mouth. Rest. The sprain should be rested. No additional force should be applied on site of the sprain. In case of, for example, a sprained ankle, walking should be kept to a minimum. Ice. Ice should be applied immediately to the sprain to reduce swelling and pain. It can be applied for 10 to 15 minutes at a time, 3 to 4 times a day. Ice can be combined with a wrapping to minimize swelling and provide support. Compression. Dressings, bandages or ice wraps should be used to immobilize the sprain and provide support. When wrapping the injury, more pressure should be applied at far end of the injury and decrease in the direction of the heart. The reason for this is that it more easily causes unnecessary fluid to be flushed back up the bloodstream in order to be recycled. Compression should not cut off the circulation of the limb. Elevation. Keeping the sprained joint elevated in relation to the rest of the body will also help minimize swelling. Ice and compression, that is cold compression therapy, will not completely stop swelling and pain, but will help to minimize them as the sprain begins to heal itself. Careful management of swelling is critical to the healing process as additional fluid may pool in the sprained area. Strain. A strain can occur as a result of improper body mechanics with any activity lifting heavy objects that can induce mechanical trauma or injury. A strain, also known colloquially as a pulled muscle or torn muscle, is an acute or chronic soft tissue injury that occurs to a muscle, tendon or both. The equivalent injury to a ligament is a sprain. Generally, the muscle or tendon overstretches and is placed under more physical stress than it can exert. The most common body location for strains to occur is in the foot, leg or back. Symptoms of strain. Typical signs and symptoms of a strain include pain, functional loss of the involved structure, muscle weakness, contusion and localized inflammation. A strain can range from mild annoyance to very painful depending on the extent of injury. First aid for strains. The first line treatment for a muscular strain in the acute phase includes 5 steps commonly known as PRICE, P-R-I-C-E. P stands for protection. Apply soft padding to minimize impact with objects. Rest. Rest is necessary to accelerate healing and reduce the potential for re-injury. And ice. Apply ice to induce vasoconstriction, which will reduce blood flow to the site of injury. Never ice for more than 20 minutes at a time. Compression. Wrap the strained area with a soft wrapped bandage to reduce further diapedesis and promote lymphatic drainage. E for elevation. Keep the strained area as close to the level of the heart as is possible in order to promote venous blood returning to the systemic circulation. Immediate treatment is usually an adjunctive therapy of NSAID or non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drug, and cold compression therapy. Controlling the inflammation is critical to the healing process. Cold compression therapy acts to reduce swelling and pain by reducing leukocyte extravasation into the injured area. It is recommended that the person injured should consult a medical provider if the injury is accompanied by severe pain, if the limb cannot be used, or if there is noticeable tenderness over an isolated spot. These can be signs of a broken or fractured bone, a sprain, or a complete muscular tear. Next, we shall discuss the case of a snake bite. When a poisonous snake strikes a person, it injects venom into the body that may cause death in a very short time. There are many varieties of poisonous snakes in India, namely the cobra, viper, coral snake, and krait. It is reported that many people die from snake bite. Snakes usually strike in self-defense, and they generally strike the foot or leg or hands or arms. Snakes are more prevalent during the monsoon season in gardens. As a preventive measure, people usually carry a long stick and strikes it against stones as he or she walks along to give the snakes a walking. The symptoms of snake bite are: pain is immediate, severe swelling occurs rapidly, and 2 puncture points made by the fangs are clearly seen. In some cases, there is only one puncture. As the poison is absorbed, there is great weakness, shortness of breath, faintness, rapid pulse, nausea and vomiting, unconsciousness, collapse and bleeding. Emergency and first aid for a victim of snake bite is as follows. Send for a doctor or medically trained person. Immediate action is needed to save the person's life. First, reassure the patient. 2. Tie the band firmly around the limb just above the bite to keep the poison from spreading. The veins will stand out on the skin. Release the band every 2 hours, long enough for the skin to return to normal color. Third, wash the area to remove any venom that might be on the skin and cleanse the area for the next step. 4. Sterilize a knife blade or other blade by heating it over a flame until it is red. Allow the blade to cool. 5. Make a cross-cut incision through each fang mark, which is 1 inch long, ½ inch deep. Allow the cuts to bleed freely. Next, apply suction. Every village first aid kit should have a suction cup for this purpose. In case a cup is not available, suction may be carried out by the mouth. The tongue and lips of the person who sucks the venom out should be free of cuts, fever sores and other abrasions. Anti-venom is given by the doctor and is available in dry form, not needing refrigeration, and should be available in every dispensary, health center and doctor's office. Keep the patient warm. Give the patient hot, sweetened tea. Scientifically proven treatment for snake bite is blood transfusion, shock treatment and antivenom injection. Next, we shall discuss sunstroke. Sunstroke is caused due to long exposure to the hot sun without due protection. The patient becomes livid and the skin hot and dry. The pulse becomes full and pounding and the temperature of the body is raised. Sunstroke can be fatal. It is common in many hot countries including India. The treatment: patient should at once be removed to a cool, shady place where there is free circulation of air. Tight clothing should be loosened and they should be stripped to the waist. They must be fanned vigorously. An ice bag should be applied to the head and spine till the body temperature comes to normal. The body should be sponged with cold water. The patient may be given Epsom salts in a tumbler of cold water when they regain consciousness. Then they should be placed under medical care. We shall now summarize what we have just discussed. First aid is the immediate care given to victims of accidents before trained medical workers arrive. Its goal is to stop and, if possible, reverse the harm. It involves simple measures such as clearing the air passageway, applying pressure to bleeding wounds, or dousing chemical burns to eyes or skin. Children are active by nature. They run, play, and perform many activities in the school. Often they receive injuries and fractures. They might even get acid burns in the science laboratory while doing experiments. The child may get drowned in the swimming pool or may receive an electric shock. Injuries in the playground are very common. As the teacher is readily available in the school, he or she can act as a first aider provided they are well trained in first aid. So, the knowledge of first aid and safety measures is very essential for every teacher. Thank you for watching the session on first aid for common injuries. See you again with a new topic. Till then, good day.